Long ago, humanity vanished from the grand stage of galactic affairs. Their colonies grew silent, their fleets stopped sailing the star lanes, and their home planet drifted into legend. Most believed they had succumbed to natural disasters or internal conflict. Whatever the reason, the galaxy moved on without them. Over the centuries, new empires rose and fell. Ancient alliances reshaped themselves. Throughout it all, the Galactic Empire maintained its power, an unwavering presence that spread across distant star systems and claimed the title of supreme authority. Then, 3,000 years later, something impossible happened. On a remote outpost at the edge of known space, a few patrolling Empire vessels intercepted a faint signal. The signal carried old Earth linguistic patterns, human in origin. Startled, the outpost's commander sent the information to Imperial command. Could it really be them? Humanity, thought to be extinct, was back. News of this discovery spread quickly through the Empire's military networks. Whispers reached noble houses, frontier worlds, and the core systems. Rumors spoke of bold new ship designs that challenged even the Empire's cutting-edge technology. Many dismissed these rumors as nonsense, too wild to be taken seriously. After all, how could a lost civilization suddenly appear with advanced starships? In the throne hall of the Emperor's Grand Palace, carved from crystal and metal older than memory, Admiral Cale Damer studied the newly arrived report. He was a strict man with gray eyes and a spotless uniform that reflected his status in the Empire. Though his face remained calm, a spark of intrigue lit his gaze. If humans had truly returned, the Empire must respond. He summoned his officers, including Captain Seraphis Ventari, a rising star in the Imperial fleet. Seraphis had earned her rank through tactical brilliance, often surprising her enemies with creative maneuvers. She arrived quickly, kneeling briefly before the Admiral. "You requested me, sir." Admiral Damer handed her a data tablet. "We've received reports of a newly sighted human fleet in the Kuvera sector. Their ship designs are unusual." He paused, trying to find the right words. "They appear to incorporate advanced hyperlane jump drives far beyond our own models." Captain Ventari's brow furrowed. "That's impossible. Humans vanished. Their technology was always behind the Empire's." Damer nodded. "Indeed. And yet, sensor scans confirm unusual energy readings. Command wants us to investigate. Gather your best crew and set course for Kuvera." Meanwhile, in the Kuvera sector, the newly returned humans made their presence known. Above a quiet planet with purple seas and skyward spiking rock formations, a small group of massive starships hung in orbit. Their shapes were sleek, almost elegant, as though centuries of design improvements had perfected every contour. Each ship's hull shimmered with a reflective coating, making them shine in the pale sunlight. Aboard the flagship, the HSS Reverie, Commander Lina Carter stood at a forward observation deck, hands clasped behind her back. She gazed at the brilliant swirl of space beyond the viewing window. The Reverie's interior mixed function and beauty. Corridors were lined with silver arches, and subtle neon markings indicated advanced systems beneath the smooth metal panels. Commander Carter's heart pounded with a mix of excitement and nerves. She had trained her entire life for this day, the moment humanity would step out of its hidden strongholds and rejoin the galactic community. Yet, she knew they would not be welcomed with open arms. The Galactic Empire had changed, grown stronger, and dominated other species for centuries. Would they see humanity's return as a threat? Behind her, a youthful officer named Ensign Marilee approached with a crisp salute. "Commander, we've detected an Imperial cruiser entering the sector. Its transponder identifies it as the ISS Valiant." Carter turned, mild concern in her eyes. "So soon? That suggests they've been watching this area closely." Ensign Lee nodded. "Yes, ma'am. Our long-range sensors also detect smaller patrol ships. They're spreading out, likely to surround us." Carter breathed in slowly, forcing calm. "Alert the other captains. Maintain formation. Do not fire unless they threaten us. We're here to negotiate, not start a war. On the bridge, a holographic display showed the approaching Imperial cruiser, standard wedge-shaped hull, large engine thrusters, and typical Empire insignia. Next to it, the HFY and her sister ships looked almost artistic in comparison, sleek lines merging with advanced propulsion rings. These rings pulsed with a gentle blue glow, hinting at a power source the Empire had never seen. Commander Carter tapped a console, activating a comm channel. "Attention, ISS Valiant. This is Commander Lina Carter of the HFY. We request peaceful communication. Humanity has returned to engage with the galaxy on equal terms." Static crackled. Then a sharp, authoritative voice answered. "This is Captain Seraphis Venteri of the Imperial fleet. We accept your request. Stand by for docking instructions." Carter raised an eyebrow at the response. She had expected immediate suspicion, but this quick acceptance was surprising. "Stand by, Valiant. We will prepare a shuttle." As the channel closed, Carter exhaled. "Looks like they're curious," she said to Ensign Lee, trying to manage a small smile. "Let's hope they're willing to listen." Far away, in the heart of the Empire's capital, rumors flew faster than official reports. Some citizens were excited, fascinated by the idea of humans appearing after 3,000 years. Others were fearful. What if these newcomers upset the balance of power or threatened trade routes and alliances? In the Grand Palace, Emperor Tiberius Morva sat on a throne carved from a single block of obsidian-like crystal. He listened intently as his advisors argued about the potential danger. An old advisor with pale skin and dark robes insisted, "We must treat them cautiously, Your Majesty. Their technology might be unmatched if they have truly leaked beyond us." Another advisor, younger and clad in gold-trimmed garments, argued, "This is a chance to absorb their advances. If we play this right, the Empire can grow stronger. We should not rush to hostility." The Emperor remained silent, tapping his fingers lightly on the arm of his throne. After a moment, he spoke in a measured tone. "We will observe. Should they prove hostile, the fleet will respond. If they come peacefully, we will learn from them. At least until we understand their intentions." Back in the Kuvera sector, Captain Seraphis Venteri of the ISS Valiant prepared to meet the humans in person. She had chosen a small boarding party, each wearing the crisp black and silver uniform of the Empire. Their boots echoed in the shuttle bay as they approached a sleek craft designed for short-range hops between ships. Venteri's expression was calm, but inside her mind raced with questions. Why did humans hide for so long? How did they survive? Could they really be more advanced now? As the Imperial shuttle glided across the gap and landed in the HFY's docking bay, Commander Carter and a few other officers stood ready. The bay's walls gleamed, illuminated by soft lights built into the floor. Captain Venteri stepped out of the shuttle, scanning the strange new ship interior. She quickly noted the advanced mechanisms overhead, a track system for cargo drones, built with a complexity beyond what the Empire normally used. "Captain Venteri," Carter said in a welcoming tone, "I appreciate you coming aboard. This meeting is a historic moment. I hope we can keep it peaceful." Venteri offered a polite nod. "I look forward to learning about your people, Commander Carter. We have many questions." For a moment, the two women stood facing each other, representatives of very different cultures. Neither knew how this meeting would end. Would they form an alliance, or would fear push them into conflict? With every passing second, the tension grew. Uncertainty clung to the air, but so did possibility. The eyes of both sides lingered on each other's uniforms, their ship designs, their posture. Every detail could be a clue about the other's true intentions. As the conversation began, the Empire's cautious curiosity and humanity's long-held ambitions collided in a single docking bay, far from any known starport. Below decks, on the HFY, engineers quietly checked the ship's defenses, just in case. In another corridor, an Imperial officer recorded sensor readings, marveling at the advanced systems that powered the vessel. And out in space, the rest of the human ships drifted in formation, their engines quietly humming with unseen energies. The galaxy had not expected humans to return, let alone in this way. Some believed they might bring a new era of peace and collaboration. Others feared a powerful challenger ready to reshape the entire interstellar order. But one truth was clear. After 3,000 years, humanity had emerged from the shadows with bold ship designs that stunned even the mighty Galactic Empire. As the HSS Reverie's doors sealed behind the Empire's boarding party, the fate of two civilizations rested on a single conversation, and the galaxy watched, waiting to see whether this was the start of a grand alliance or the spark of a devastating war. A soft hum filled the docking bay of the HSS Reverie as air circulators worked overtime to maintain a comfortable atmosphere. On one side stood Commander Lina Carter and several human officers, each wearing uniforms designed with sleek lines and subtle badges representing centuries of hidden progress. On the other side, Captain Seraphis Venteri of the Imperial fleet and her small retinue, dressed in crisp black and silver. Their postures were rigid, their eyes ever watchful for signs of deception. Carter gestured for her guests to follow her into a wide corridor, lit by soft, white illumination strips along the ceiling. The metal walls appeared seamless, with only faint outlines hinting at panels that could open to reveal advanced systems. As they walked, Venteri quietly took note of the ship's design: smooth corridors, hidden doors, and a faint hum that suggested a powerful, well-tuned reactor. Humanity really has changed, she thought. They arrived at a conference chamber, a circular room lined with transparent screens displaying star charts and ship schematics. At the center stood a round, polished table surrounded by comfortable chairs. When the group settled, Carter tapped a console built into the tabletop. Instantly, a holographic projection of the Kuvera sector flickered into view, showing the positions of both human and Imperial ships. "Captain Venteri," Carter began, voice calm, "thank you for agreeing to speak with us so quickly. We know the Empire has questions. We'll do our best to answer." Venteri's expression remained guarded. "I'm here for one reason: to understand why you vanished for 3 millennia, and how you returned with starship technology that appears beyond Imperial standards." Carter folded her hands in front of her. "That's fair. But before we share our history, we want to ensure we're not walking into a trap. Humanity left galactic affairs because we needed to develop without interference. We found a way to harness energy sources the Empire never explored. Our ships are designed with that knowledge." Venteri's brow furrowed. "And you claim no ill intent. The Empire must be cautious. We have numerous worlds to protect." There was a moment of silence. Then Carter nodded. "I understand. That's why we invited you on board. You can see for yourself that we're not a threat, unless we're forced to defend ourselves." Meanwhile, aboard the ISS Valiant, which maintained a short distance from the Reverie, tension ran high. Members of Venteri's crew huddled around their command consoles, scanning every possible frequency. One officer, Lieutenant Darius, tried to run diagnostics on the human ship's signature, but the readings were strange. "It's like nothing we've seen," Darius muttered, adjusting a knob for the 10th time. "The energy field around their hull, it's not standard shielding. It's more like a layered quantum barrier." He scratched his head. "I can't get a clear reading." Across the bridge, an ensign stared at the main display, which showed the formation of human vessels. "If they wanted to, they could probably jump out of this sector in seconds," she whispered, noticing how the rings on the human ships pulsed with luminous energy. "They're just waiting." The Valiant's acting commander, Commander Yalric, pursed his lips. "Captain Venteri will learn more soon. Keep analyzing. I want no surprises if a fight breaks out." On the HSS Reverie, the conference continued. A few of Carter's officers detailed some of humanity's past, how centuries of war and resource depletion had forced them to abandon large portions of Earth's old colonies. They spoke of a hidden sanctuary deep in uncharted space, where scientists and engineers worked undisturbed to evolve new propulsion and energy systems. One human officer, Lieutenant Selby, showed a holographic schematic of their reactor core. Although the diagram was simplified, it still looked advanced enough to make Venturi's eyes widen slightly. "We call it the Aurora Core," Selby explained. "It's a fusion of zero-point energy and advanced matter-antimatter balancing. That's the source of the ring-like structures you see on our hulls. With it, we can achieve faster than standard FTL travel." Venturi listened with intense focus. She had never heard such terms used in Imperial science. The Empire's warp drives were powerful, but they relied on stable hyperlanes. The Aurora Core suggested new possibilities: free movement, unlimited jumps, and minimal downtime. No wonder the Empire is worried, she thought. Suddenly, a soft chime interrupted the conversation. Carter pressed a button on her wrist communicator. "Yes." A faint voice answered. "Commander, we're picking up an emergency signal from a nearby moon, Xanaris IV. A settlement there is under attack by unidentified raiders. They're asking for help." Venturi leaned forward. "Raiders? In this sector? The Empire has outposts on some of the moons, but we haven't received an alert." Carter exchanged a brief look with her officers. Then she turned to Venturi. "We can deploy a rescue team. If you come with us, you can see our ships in action." Venturi hesitated. She was here to gather information, not jump into a conflict. However, she also couldn't ignore a distress signal. "All right, we'll do this together. The Empire cannot stand by while innocent people are attacked." Minutes later, the Reverie's crew scrambled to launch a small squad of swift interceptors. These ships, smaller than the main cruiser, each sported the same glowing energy rings, but on a scaled-down level. Captain Venturi observed from a secondary bridge module, invited by Carter so she could see their coordination firsthand. The interceptors streaked away, leaving white-blue trails in the darkness. Long-range scans revealed half a dozen raider vessels circling a colony station on the moon. Energy blasts and missiles pounded the station's shields, which flickered dangerously. Within moments, the human interceptors appeared on sensors near Xanaris IV. Each pilot confirmed targets, then launched a barrage of micropulsar bursts, focused beams that cut through standard shielding like paper. The raider ships scrambled to retreat, but it was too late. Two were quickly disabled, engines smoking. The rest scattered in panic. Captain Venturi watched on a holoscreen, mouth slightly open in disbelief. "They made that look easy," she muttered under her breath. Commander Carter offered a small smile. "We've tested these tactics on pirate threats near our hidden strongholds. I'm glad to see they're still effective." Back on the Valiant, Commander Yalric and his crew also monitored the raid's abrupt end. Some of them whispered in awe. Lieutenant Darius typed feverishly at his console, hoping to capture some data that could explain the humans' weapon efficiency. On the moon's surface, settlers peeked out from behind battered defenses, marveling at the sudden arrival of sleek human interceptors. Their station, close to destruction only moments ago, still stood. The interceptors hovered overhead, scanning for any sign of further threat. With the raiders gone, the rescue mission turned into an unexpected display of human capability. Word would soon travel that these new ships, bearing the mark of Earth, arrived and saved a vulnerable colony. This act would likely shape the Empire's opinion, for better or worse. Back aboard the Reverie, the small victory brought cautious optimism. Captain Venturi found herself growing more conflicted. The humans had amazing technology and used it to save lives. Were they truly a threat to the Empire, or could they become key partners? As the interceptors returned, Carter turned to Venturi. "We have shown you some of what we can do. We only ask that the Empire see us as potential allies, not enemies." Venturi stared at the glowing monitors, replaying the interceptor's performance in her mind. She recalled the Emperor's orders to be cautious, but seeing how efficiently humans protected an outpost, without demanding tribute or spoils, challenged her preconceptions. "I cannot decide for the entire empire," she admitted quietly, "but I will send an honest report to my superiors. Maybe they'll see what I've seen today." Commander Carter nodded, her face reflecting both relief and lingering worry. They had taken a risk by revealing their methods, hoping to build trust. Now much depended on how the Empire's leadership would respond. Outside, the starry void glimmered, dotted with the silhouettes of human vessels, and the single Imperial cruiser. The once-forgotten race that disappeared for 3,000 years had returned in force, wielding technology that stunned the Galactic Empire. Now, a new chapter lay open, shaped by alliances forged not out of fear, but out of shared purpose. Yet, shadows of doubt and ambition still lurked, ready to ignite fresh conflicts. Captain Seraphis Venteri stood on the HSS Reverie's observation deck, gazing through a broad window at the star-studded void. The ship's interior lights cast a gentle glow on her face, revealing traces of lingering doubt. Behind her, Commander Lina Carter joined in silent contemplation. A day had passed since humanity's interceptors rescued the colony on Xanaris IV from raiders. The heroic act spread throughout the Kuvera sector, prompting many to question their old fears about the mysterious human fleet. After witnessing the humans' advanced technology and their willingness to protect others, Venteri's once solid loyalty to the Empire's cautious stance began to waver. Yet, she knew the Emperor might not be so easily convinced. She exhaled softly, unsure of what awaited when she reported back. Meanwhile, aboard the ISS Valiant, Commander Yalric and his crew eagerly awaited final instructions from their captain. They received a communique from the Imperial High Command earlier that day, requesting detailed updates on every piece of data the Valiant had gathered. Yalric felt a subtle dread creep in. While Venteri sought understanding, many in the Empire's upper ranks cared more about controlling or eliminating potential threats. At the Reverie's main briefing room, Carter and Venteri prepared for a last meeting before the Imperial delegation departed. The wide oval table held a few tactical displays, each showing different star systems on the Empire's borders. Ensign Marilee and Lieutenant Selby stood by quietly, letting their superiors speak first. "Captain Venteri," Carter began, her voice steady, "we appreciate your willingness to see beyond rumors. Our people disappeared for 3,000 years, but not by choice. The old wars on Earth forced us to retreat, to rebuild in secret. Now we've returned, hoping to share what we've learned." Venteri took a moment, carefully choosing her response. "Commander, the Empire fears what it doesn't understand. Your ships, your technology. They challenge our status quo. But I've seen firsthand that you're not conquerors." She paused, recalling the easy grace of the human interceptors as they fought off raiders. "You might actually help stabilize this region, if we let you." Carter inclined her head in gratitude. "We've discussed forming a partnership, mutual defense pacts, technology exchanges, trade routes that benefit both sides. But it all depends on your Emperor's decision." Venteri frowned slightly. "I'll deliver my report honestly. I just pray the Emperor sees reason. The Empire has become wary of new powers. We expanded for centuries without equal rivals. Your reappearance changes everything." Not far away, the battered raider ships from Xanaris IV limped through a hidden jump gate to a barren sector. In a remote base carved into an asteroid, a shady figure in tattered armor studied surveillance footage stolen from the battle. These criminals rarely dared to challenge the Empire directly, yet they saw opportunity in the humans' unexpected arrival. "A new power with advanced ships," the figure whispered, eyes gleaming. "If we can capture one of their vessels, we'll be unstoppable." His lieutenants nodded grimly. Though their last attack ended in disaster, the potential reward still tempted them. Back in the Kuvera sector, Captain Venteri prepared to return to the ISS Valiant. She and Carter exchanged a firm handshake at the Reverie's docking bay. "Our conversation changes my view of your people," Venteri said. "I hope it will change the Empire's view as well." Carter's expression was resolute. "We'll remain in orbit here for the time being, offering aid to any colony that needs us. If the Empire wants to talk further, we're ready. The airlock sealed behind Ventari, and soon her shuttle glided across the vacuum. Commander Carter watched until the craft safely docked with the Imperial cruiser. She didn't know if Ventari's superiors would be as open-minded. She only knew that bridging trust was their best chance at peace. 2 days later, a heavily guarded Imperial transport arrived from the capital with a team of dignitaries. They brought an official message from Emperor Tiberius Morva himself. The entire Kuvera sector buzzed with speculation. Many expected a sharp rebuke or even a direct threat aimed at humanity. Instead, the Emperor's letter extended a carefully worded invitation. Humans would be allowed to send ambassadors to the Imperial capital for a summit. The Empire would acknowledge human-controlled sectors, pending further negotiations. In exchange, humans must agree not to expand beyond a defined boundary until diplomatic terms were fully outlined. When Commander Carter read the message, she detected caution, but also a hint of respect. At least they're open to discussions, she said aloud in the Reveries war room. Around her, officers exchanged relieved looks. It was no guarantee of friendship, but it was not a declaration of war either. Captain Ventari, summoned from the Valiant, helped interpret the Emperor's words. He wants to make sure you don't threaten Imperial space, she explained. But he also doesn't wish to spark a conflict that could leave us both vulnerable to outside enemies. Carter nodded, gazing at the star map. Fair enough. We'll accept. We have no interest in conquering old territories or provoking needless battles. Our focus is on building alliances and ensuring humanity's survival. As the negotiations proceeded, rumors spread across Empire worlds about the humans' bold ship designs. Some called them wings of light. Others declared them phantom vessels, capable of disappearing without a trace. Curiosity grew. Merchants spoke of potential trade deals if the humans sold even a fraction of their technological secrets. Border planets, plagued by pirate raids, hoped for the day when human interceptors might patrol alongside Imperial ships. Yet not everyone welcomed the new reality. Certain Imperial admirals whispered among themselves, wondering how they might secretly seize or replicate the humans' technology. In shadowy corners of the palace, political rivals plotted how to use the changed balance of power to their advantage. On the HSS Reverie, Commander Lina Carter and her closest advisors prepared for their journey to the Empire's capital world. A hush fell as the ship's engines powered up for a long-distance jump, the Aurora core emitting a deep resonance throughout the hull. Beyond the observation windows, the rest of humanity's fleet aligned, forming a protective escort. Ensign Mara Lee turned from her station. Commander, the coordinates are locked. All ships report ready. Carter took a steady breath, reflecting on how far humanity had come. 3,000 years of isolation, she thought. Now, we're on the brink of forging a new destiny. Engage the drive, she ordered. The Aurora core flared to life, sending shimmering waves along the Reverie's hull. In a burst of brilliant blue-white light, the human vessels slid into a higher dimension of travel. As they vanished from the Kuvera sector, Captain Ventari and the Imperial flotilla observed in awe. Far from the flash of the human jump, the Emperor sat in his throne room, reading Captain Ventari's final report. Slowly, a faint smile crossed his lips. They are bold, indeed, he murmured to himself, watching a holographic video of the human interceptors destroying the raiders. Perhaps the Empire has finally found a worthy ally, or a worthy rival. With that, he signaled his advisors, instructing them to prepare for the summit with humanity. Some recognized the potential for peace and prosperity, while others burned with ambition or fear. But all understood that the Empire's future now hinged on how they handled this alliance. In a swirl of cosmic particles, the HSS Reverie and its escort dropped out of hyperspace at the edges of the Empire's capital system. Giant orbital stations, loaded with Imperial warships, drifted against the backdrop of a huge gas giant. The sight was formidable, even by human standards. But the humans did not arrive in secret or bearing hidden weapons. They came openly, with the same calm confidence that had carried them through centuries of hardship. As Commander Carter peered through the main viewport, she thought of the countless unknowns that lay ahead. Still, hope fluttered in her chest. They had taken the first step toward bridging an ancient divide. If diplomacy succeeded, humans and Imperials might reshape the galaxy side by side, forging an age of shared prosperity. If it failed, well, at least they had tried to change the future without bloodshed. The reverie's comm crackled to life with an incoming message from the Imperial station, directing them to a secure docking lane. Carter smiled, turning to her crew. Let's show them we've returned not just with ships, but with a willingness to stand among them, and stand tall. And so, after 3,000 years of silence, humanity had stepped back onto the galactic stage. Their bold ship designs and remarkable technology stunned an empire that thought itself unrivaled. Now, two civilizations stood on the threshold of a new era, one that might bring unity, or perhaps ignite fresh conflict. But for a moment, in that shared space among the stars, hope gleamed brighter than any fear.